Hi, it's me, Erika. My favorite movie is Barbie as the Princess and the Pauper, released September 28th, 2004. It has a great story, wonderful characters, and such iconic and memorable musical numbers. So today, I want to celebrate this movie's 20th anniversary by just talking about it for however long this video ends up being. This isn't going to be anything too fancy, it's more a collection of some of my thoughts from over the years. Just a bunch of ramblings of some woman on the internet. Anyway, let's get this thing going. This is A Treasure Within, Why I Love Barbie as the Princess and the Pauper. Part 1. The Story. As you can guess from the title, this film is loosely based on Mark Twain's novel The Prince and the Pauper. Princess Annalise and Pauper Erika lead very different lives, but both want to be free to follow their dreams. Queen Genevieve's advisor Preminger has been secretly stealing the gold in the kingdom, causing it to go bankrupt. To save everyone from poverty, Annalise agrees to marry the rich King Dominic. Preminger plots to have her kidnapped, as he was hoping to marry her with his stolen gold. For one day of freedom, Annalise goes into town and meets Erika, and they immediately connect over feeling trapped. Later, when Annalise is kidnapped, Julian takes Erika to the palace to impersonate the princess and trick Preminger. But things get even more complicated when Erika starts to fall in love with King Dominic, and Annalise gets continuously trapped in various places. Then, Preminger locks Annalise in the mine with Julian, steals her ring, and presents it as evidence that the princess is dead. He exposes Erika, lies that she wanted to take over the kingdom, and has her locked up. In her heartbreak, Queen Genevieve agrees to marry Preminger for his riches. Eventually, both girls escape with help from their love interest and stop the wedding. They both get to live out their dreams and live happily ever after. What I like about the story is that even though you can tell it's for kids, it takes itself seriously. The different moving parts of the plot connect in ways that keep the story interesting, but they aren't needlessly complicated that they lose the intended audience's interest. An opinion I've never quite vibed with is that because something is for kids, it doesn't really need to try to be actually good. Princess and the Pauper treats its target audience of young girls with respect. It doesn't just throw sparkles and colors at the screen, it delivers an engaging story with real stakes and drama. The only things about the story I think could have been improved is how the animals were handled and a small bit of confusion with the Preminger plot. The movie has the animals talk, which sometimes takes me out of the story. They at least serve a purpose, though, by helping their respective owners, but I really believe not having them talk would fit better with the rest of the film's more grounded tone. Otherwise, they are okay, and at least they only talk to each other, the humans can't hear them. There are a couple of things about Preminger's plan I hadn't thought about until years later. First of all, after Preminger is arrested, shouldn't the kingdom have gotten all their gold back? What I mean is, we don't see anyone on screen figure out that Preminger stole all the gold. But I suppose it would make sense that his arrest led to the repossession of his things, which led to the eventual discovery of the gold. However, the movie presents the new industry of geode mining to be the thing that saves the kingdom, with no word about what happened to the rest of the gold. It is a bit distracting to me now as an adult, but we can probably just infer that the gold was returned as well. Secondly, I'm not sure what Preminger's idea of planting the note was about. If the kidnapping had succeeded, what was he going to say when he brought Annalise back and she said she didn't run away at all? He even points this out when Erika fails to mention it during her deception.
I can figure out how the princess escaped, you fools. But why didn't she tell the queen she'd been captured? Something's odd.
He acknowledged that Annalise would say she was kidnapped, so how was he going to spin the rest of that plan? Were Nick and Nat going to be thrown under the bus? I mean, Annalise did see their faces, so they wouldn't have been able to get away with it. And if Preminger did blame them, he could have just denied knowing them when they tried to expose him, since he had the Queen's trust. Perhaps I'm just looking at it too hard, but I find it slightly confusing. In my headcanon, Preminger was going to blame Nick and Nat. But even with those two things, the story is pretty neat and tight. Other plot points people like to point out that I don't personally think are problems are Erika's singing voice and Queen Genevieve not being able to tell Erika wasn't Annalise. I've seen people say that Erika's singing voice should have been a giveaway that she wasn't the princess, but since Genevieve wasn't phased, it's easy to assume either Annalise hadn't sung very much, or her and Erika's voices are similar enough to bypass suspicion. In universe, at least. This is all speculation rather than explanation, I know, but that's the best I can come up with. As for the Queen not recognizing Erika, that's literally the center of the plot. Annalise and Erika look exactly alike, and even if there were smaller differences in their appearances, Julian took Genevieve's spectacles so she wouldn't have been able to tell anyway. So I don't really think either of those are that big of a deal. Back to things I like. I appreciate how the writers allow themselves to change up the plot to give it an identity separate from the story it's based on, kind of like what Disney does. For example, the movie adds animal companions and romances for both leads, while the book has neither. My favorite change would have to be how they handle the switch. In the novel, the prince and the pauper switch clothes early on, get mixed up, and then spend the rest of the story being each other. In the Barbie version, the switch doesn't happen until about halfway through the story. Erika is recruited into disguising herself when Annalise disappears. Then when Annalise escapes from the chateau, she gets turned away from the guards and tries to get help from Erika, only to be mistaken for her and put to work. This was actually a really good decision because then the focus of the girls' first meeting isn't just about how they look alike or comparing their lives, but about how the characters connect over their shared feelings of being trapped but wanting to do their best for their families. The switch itself is still an accident, but it gets to become part of the plot already happening instead of being the catalyst for it. Although it's been a hot minute since I read the book, so if I'm misremembering something, please correct me in the comments. Part 2. The Characters. Princess Annalise. The first of our two protagonists is Princess Annalise, voiced by Kelly Sheridan, speaking, and Melissa Lyons, singing. She is a kind young woman who is unsatisfied with her position as the princess. It sounds a little cliché at first, but the execution is what makes her so compelling. Annalise isn't just a princess reluctant to get married, the whole arrangement treats her like a commodity or a form of payment. While yes, Dominic also doesn't want to marry a stranger, he is still getting what he wanted, a wife, and in exchange for that, his kingdom's wealth will save Annalise's. She's essentially being sold, even for a good reason. In addition, every part of her day is planned for her, right down to the last detail.
Oh, we're late. We have 20, maximum 22 minutes for your royal fitting, and then it's move to your speech at the Historical Society. After that, we have to rush, and I mean rush, to the Horticultural Society tea.
Annalise wants to be able to dictate her own schedule, pour herself into her scientific studies, and marry her true love. However, despite that dream, she is completely dedicated to her duty. She doesn't try to run away or work herself out of her engagement until the very end when she can guarantee a way to save her kingdom.
Mother, it's Julian I want to marry.
I want you to be happy, but it is our duty to take care of our people first.
I can do that. I found something very interesting in the mine.
This complete loyalty to her duty is what makes her character work beyond just princess that wants more. Something that I don't really agree with is the idea that Annalise is an introvert, at least of her own accord. Annalise doesn't stay indoors by herself because she wants to, but because she's forced to. And she's definitely not prim and proper just on her own. That's a reflection of her stifling schedule and even more stifling princess etiquette she has to adhere to. Annalise's true self has to be second to her title and duty as princess at all times. She has to command respect and embody perfection and strength. I think she's given the introvert label a lot due to her love of reading, but Annalise's bookwormness has been skewed in a way that doesn't accurately showcase her character. Let's take another character for comparison, Belle from Beauty and the Beast. Her bookwormness is used constantly by the fandom, and even more annoyingly by Disney, as grounds to call her the smart princess. Not that she isn't intelligent, of course. It's just, Belle doesn't read for academics, but for escapism. She reads stories to imagine life and adventure outside of her provincial town. Annalise has the opposite problem.
But I'd rather be in my library reading science books all day.
She isn't a dainty lady sipping her tea and quietly flipping through poetry or devouring stories for escapism. She is a scientist studying how the world works. She is reading for academics.
I classified this as iron pyrite. Pretty, but not considered valuable. Commonly known as fool's gold.
When Julian takes Annalise out for her one day of freedom, she is ecstatic. She isn't jumping up and down over everything like, say, Ariel, but she is no less enthusiastic.
It feels so good to be outside the castle walls. Nobody knows who I am. So, which one was your house? That smells delicious.
She's curious about every detail because she's been in the castle all day, every day. She has an ache to be outside of it. We even see this emphasized in both the novelization, where she's doing homework in the gardens just to be outside, and in the opening number where she sings,
Free to try crazy things.
If she could, Annalise would gladly take herself outside of the castle, toss away her princess etiquette, and do quote-unquote crazy things. And I'm not trying to say there aren't different ways of being an introvert or extrovert. I'm saying based on what we see, it's hard for me to agree with just slapping an introvert onto Annalise's character and calling it a day. Moving on, I like that Annalise's intelligence comes in handy during the film. Each time that she gets captured in the story, she uses her wits to craft a way to escape, from tricking the villain's henchmen, to using her cat and signet ring to send a message, to flooding the mine shaft and floating up in a barrel. Whatever happens to her, she finds a way to save herself. During the epilogue, Annalise is able to grasp her dream of freedom by giving that freedom to herself. She directly oversees the new industry of geodes she discovered. She created not just a new way to take care of her people, but a more active role for her to play as princess, no longer cooped up in the palace. Overall, she's a great character and role model, a princess with grace and smarts. Erika. The second protagonist is Erika, voiced by Kelly Sheridan, speaking, and Julie Stevens, singing. Like Annalise, she longs to be free but is dedicated to her duty. In her case, that is paying off the crippling amount of debt her parents accumulated just to keep her alive. Just like Annalise, she puts others' needs before her own and is highly loyal. After just one meeting with Annalise, she is willing to risk what little freedom she has in life to help trick Preminger and bring Annalise back. I love this moment in particular because she isn't just trying to save the princess, she wants to save her new precious friend.
She's in real trouble, isn't she? A girl like me. Count me in.
And even when she ends up alone to fend for herself, she tries her best to stay calm and keep playing her part.
The Queen has sent me to escort you to meet the King.
Thank you.
What I also love about Erika is her sheer determination to achieve what she wants. She works as a seamstress for Madame Carp, but her true dream is to be a world-renowned professional singer, and she never gives up on it. When she can, she sneaks out to earn more money through street performances. She's also just as smart as her princess counterpart, able to escape the dungeon by herself, with just a little bit of help from her love interest. One of the best parts of Erika's story is that she actually chooses to live out her dream in the end, instead of marrying Dominic right away.
I can't convince you to stay.
Dominic, all my life, I've dreamed of being free. Now my debt's been paid, thanks to Annalise.
Where will you go?
Everywhere. I want to sing, see the world.
She does come back to him eventually, but the movie doesn't try to pull this idea of love is the only thing you need, and lets her find success in what she wanted for so long. It was only when she felt she was ready that she went back. Erika is my favorite character in the movie. She is a loyal, strong woman that, like Annalise, continues to inspire me to this day. I know it seems like I had a bit less to say about Erika in comparison to Annalise, but trust me, we will be discussing her a lot more when we get to the music section. Julian. Julian, voiced by Alessandro Giuliani, is the princess's personal tutor and best friend. It isn't entirely clear how many years he's been teaching her, but through their interactions you can tell it's been a long time. He even calls her by her name instead of her title when they're alone.
Well done, Your Highness.
Your Highness? Why the sudden formality? It's just me.
Annalise, you're going to need your cape.
I am? Why?
It's hopeless. I'm sorry, Annalise.
He also gets a chance to show off his intelligence, as he's the first one to realize Preminger was behind Annalise's disappearance.
Lilac? Where did you find this?
On the princess's desk.
Perhaps I can help you look for her. Lilac? She never scented her stationery with lilac. It was always rose.
Although in the end he ends up getting kidnapped too, but he did his best. The best thing about Julian is that even though he's clearly in love with Annalise, he also doesn't want to jeopardize her duty. So he never reveals his feelings to her in order to avoid making her feel worse about the engagement. He even tries to cheer her up and find things she might like about Dominic.
Apparently he's a lover of music. He plays 3 different instruments, the dulcimer, the trumpet, and the piano.
And even when they are trapped, he still doesn't reveal that he loves her until she says it first. Heck, he even tries to justify why he isn't the better match.
But I'm not a king. I can't give you what he can.
Julian is a truly humble, wonderful person. A best friend who would do anything for you is the perfect love interest for Annalise, and that kind of relationship is a good thing to show little girls. King Dominic. Erika's love interest is King Dominic, voiced by Mark Hildreth, speaking, and Mark Luna, singing. When he first arrives at Genevieve's kingdom, he disguises himself as a page in order to get to know the real Annalise, since, like her, he doesn't want to marry a stranger. Then he hears Erika singing and instantly falls in love with her, only to be shocked later that she isn't the princess. Despite this, he helps her escape the dungeon and does believe she's a good person. That is what is so great about Dominic. Even with Preminger's slander and the fact that Erika outright lied to him, he still believed in the girl that he spent time with, the one he saw when it was only them. He trusted his instincts even without having the full story. He also waits for Erika all the months she is gone. He even puts the engagement ring on her right hand instead of her left. Now, normal people would chop this up to an animation error, but I actually see it differently. Not only would it be a pretty huge error, considering that the left fourth finger is widely known as the wedding ring finger, but there's also this line.
No promises?
I'll take my chances.
He knows there's a good chance that Erika won't come back to him, so I believe he intentionally put it on her right hand. This way, she takes the ring he says was meant for her, but it doesn't add pressure onto her to say yes, as it's not on the finger it would be if they were actually engaged. He is saying, I want to marry you, but I understand if that isn't what you want as well. And he stays faithful to her, even without the guarantee that she will return to him. He is truly a partner worthy of Erika. Preminger. Preminger, voiced by Martin Short, is Queen Genevieve's trusted advisor, and a lying, manipulative, sneaky, disgusting monster. Preminger actually sort of terrifies me as an adult. I mean, he scared me as a kid too, but as an adult I can see how close he was to winning and just how creepy he really is. He was the royal advisor for at least a decade according to his song.
And for 10 long years I've had to pay my dues.
Meaning he has had plenty of time to build up a good relationship with Queen Genevieve and Princess Annalise, enough to the point that they both trust him completely. Then he has his henchmen secretly steal all of their gold little by little while he goes off on a long journey right before they're done, giving himself the perfect alibi. He planned to use the gold to marry Annalise and save the kingdom, but then changes his plans to a disappearance act so he can look like a hero when he finds her. But then that plan gets derailed too, so he literally leaves Annalise to die in the mines, tells Queen Genevieve her daughter is dead, and then maybe a couple hours later at most says, oh, by the way, I'm rich, so marry me and I can save your people. My point is, Preminger always finds a way to twist the situation to suit his own needs, and that is what makes him so scary. He is the most detestable character, which is honestly a good fit for this movie, and makes it so much more satisfying when he's taken down in the end. Martin Short does a good job of making Preminger a total sleaze, while also giving us a bit of comedy in his performance to help balance it out. As much as I really don't like the memification of Barbie movies, I can see why this character has become such a big one. It's just, for me, I can't ignore the creepier parts of his character in favor of making him a gay icon meme king ooh-woo. I mean, if a character like Shiver from Magica Pegasus, who is basically just a toddler but a bear, can be so viscerally hated in this fandom, I get to absolutely loathe Preminger. Great character for this movie, but still a monster. Queen Genevieve. Queen Genevieve, voiced by Ellen Kennedy, is a great character who I believe deserves more praise. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree here, as Annalise's unwavering devotion to her duty is certainly inherited from her mother. Genevieve wants to do anything she can to be a good queen and take care of her subjects. She even agrees to marry Preminger the day after thinking her own daughter has died to ensure the kingdom's survival. On another note, I love that Annalise takes priority as her daughter more than the princess. For example, when Annalise runs away, Genevieve's first thought is the safety of her daughter rather than how the marriage might be jeopardized.
We have to find her. She could be hurt.
And a few times throughout the film, we see that she wants Annalise's happiness too, even though they both know it has to come second.
I'm so sorry, my darling, but as you know, it is vital you marry King Dominic. It is the only way to take care of our people.
Mother, it's Julian I want to marry.
I want you to be happy, but it is our duty to take care of our people first.
My favorite moments are the times Annalise returns to her because of how she acts. First when Erika comes in disguise, and then at the climax when Annalise reunites with her for real. Here, Genevieve's queenly manners are dropped in favor of letting her emotions show and allowing a tender moment with her daughter.
Darling? Oh, you're back! Oh, it is you! my darling.
Genevieve is a great queen and mother, and I wish she was appreciated more. Animal sidekicks. Annalise and Erika's cats, Serafina and Wolfie, voiced by Kathleen Barr and Ian James Corlett respectively, are their obligatory animal sidekicks. As I said earlier, they actually get to do stuff. They both aid their owners in escaping or capturing their enemies, so thankfully they aren't just here to look cute. I adore Serafina's sass, and she gets some funny lines.
Oh, please. Having delusions again, Midas? No, I am not okay. My mistress is inside with 2 hooligans, and I've got dirt. Dirt on my bum!
Wolfie has a very interesting trait. He acts more like a dog instead of a cat, right down to the barking. His dog-like personality also includes sticking, which ultimately saves Annalise, Julian, and Serafina's lives. Preminger also has animal sidekicks, a snooty poodle named Midas, voiced by Jane Rabson, and a horse named Hervé, voiced by Gary Chalk. Midas doesn't add that much other than a chase scene with Serafina at one point, but he is still intimidating and a good opposite for the cats. And like Preminger, he has a bit of humor to his performance. Hervé starts out as a more timid and obedient servant, but then turns on Preminger at the end of the movie and helps take him down. I actually don't like that writing decision, as I feel it's less gratifying to have the villain defeated that way instead of by the hands of one of the leads. Overall, I am a bit more mixed on the animals than I was as a child. They're fine, but like I said earlier, I think having them not talk at all would fit the tone of the movie more, even if some of their dialogue is still entertaining. But at least they have memorable personalities. Nick and Knack. Preminger's goons, Nick and Knack, voiced by Brian Drummond and Jane Rabson respectively, are the typical smart one, dumb one villain henchmen, and get some funny moments here and there. Actually, I think they're funnier than Preminger.
Hey! I happen to know you got a 5 of that.
What do you mean, you know?
I saw it.
You mean you cheated?
Yeah. No.
While they aren't always the most competent goons, they did get tricked by a bedsheet ghost after all. They do have their clever moments, like how they use Serafina to lure Annalise out to be captured. In addition, there are a couple of moments when they're shown to be afraid of Preminger or where he's outright abusing them, painting them in a slightly sympathetic light.
Master Preminger, are you back? Here, early.
Who does she think she is?
Oh, the Queen?
You simpering simpleton!
With this and my headcanon that they were going to be thrown under the bus, I like to think that they were given more lenient punishments than their boss post-movie. Ambassador Bismarck. Even though Ambassador Bismarck, voiced by Lee Talker, has an important job being, well, Ambassador of Dulcinea, he doesn't do very much in the movie. He comes to make wedding plans with Queen Genevieve, and then later acts as a ticking clock to cancel the wedding when the princess disappears. Other than that, we don't get to see much of his personality. Fortunately, this isn't much of a distraction, as his role is still vital to the story. By being the one to officially see the Queen, Dominic was given the opportunity to disguise himself as a page to try and meet the real Annalise. And if that hadn't happened, he wouldn't have felt compelled to admit his lie and then discover Erika singing in the bathroom. So the point of Bismarck's character is to act more as a tool to move the story along rather than be his own character, so I think he's fine. Bertie. Bertie, voiced by Kathleen Barr, is Madame Carp's other seamstress. She doesn't get much screen time, so all we really know is that she's kind and hardworking. Either way, though, she's still a nice character. I wish we got to hear her sing more than just her one line.
Though I know I have so little, my determination's strong. People will gather around the world to hear my song. Can I come along?
I always get happy to see her in the end when she's no longer under her boss's thumb. Also, I feel the need to address this. No, she is not Erika's mother. I don't know how, but apparently a lot of people had this misunderstanding. Erika's parents are dead. That's the whole reason she's the one paying off their debt. We even see what her parents look like during the prologue, and her mother looks nothing like Bertie. Madame Carp. Madame Carp, voiced by Pam Hyatt, is Erika's boss. While she isn't the main antagonist, she is still just as gut-wrenchingly evil as Preminger. After Erika's parents died, she started working to pay off the rest of their debt. However, Madame Carp adds on interest so that she will basically be working until she dies. She treats Erika and Bertie like dirt, calling them names and sniping at them whenever she can. She also scares me, because she's the kind of person you can meet in real life, a boss that doesn't care about you, only your labor. Like Preminger, it is all too satisfying to see her defeated at the end, her business completely ruined. Part 3. Animation and Aesthetics. Like most Barbie movies, the characters are animated through motion capture, or mocap for short. This works to the film's advantage as it gives the characters a bit more weight and realistic movement, while not being overly exaggerated. I really applaud the actors who did the mocap. The character animation holds up really well. I especially like the face mold for Barbie in this. She just looks so pretty. I do have to admit though, there is a little bit of awkwardness to the animation too. Everyone's hair is basically one entity, and the background characters are not the best. But still, with the time period and budget, it could look so much worse. And honestly, unless you're really looking for the awkward parts, you don't notice or care at all. The rest of the visuals are also very beautiful. Each setting has a perfectly matched color palette, from the calm pastels of the castle to the grounded, earthy tones of the village and forest. Some of the backgrounds are even painted illustrations. Honestly, there are so many shots I would love to just make prints of and stick on my wall. Now, as an adult, I find myself looking at all the little details in the background. The costumes were my favorite part as a kid, and I still love the way they look. They're not really accurate to the time period, which I think is supposed to be inspired by the 1700s, don't quote me on that, but they're so pretty nonetheless. I don't think I can truly even pick out a favorite outfit. I am enamored with both girls' wardrobes. So I don't care if it seems somewhat dated, I think the animation has aged very gracefully. Part 4. The music. Here's where we get to the real meat and potatoes of the movie, the glue that holds it all together. If I ask someone what kind of music they would associate with Barbie, they'd likely say pop, probably because of the Aqua song. I really don't like that song. Anyway, while the later Barbie musicals transitioned into a more pop sound starting with Diamond Castle, the first two, Princess and the Pauper and Island Princess, have more of a classic musical theater or Disney Renaissance sort of vibe. Think more Cinderella or Beauty and the Beast and less Six or Mamma Mia. The songs were composed by Megan Cavallari, Amy Powers, and Rob Hudnut, and the score was composed by Arnie Roth. The music was performed by the London Symphony Orchestra and the Czech Philharmonic Chamber Orchestra. There are 10 musical numbers in the film, plus an end credit song. Let's look at them individually. Free. This song is a great example of an opening number mixed with an I Want song. It perfectly establishes the main characters and their dreams, sets the tone for the music and story, and introduces vital plot points to the movie. We quickly get to know who the girls are, what they want in the story, and what is the big obstacle keeping them from their dream.
Free to try crazy things, free from endless IOUs, free to fly, free to sing, and marry whom I choose.
Some of the lyrics are really poignant.
You would think that I'm so lucky that I have so many things. I'm realizing that every present comes with strings. Duty means doing nothing your heart may well regret.
The lyrics also give a hint to what we'll explore more later, that even though they have different lives and different outlooks on those lives, their feelings are ultimately the same.
Now I fear I'll never be. Soon I will forever be free.
Annalise is coming to terms with the fact that she may never be a free woman, while Erika continues to hope for the day where her debt has been paid. But at the same time, they know it would be wrong to abandon their duties, so they find the strength to carry on.
I close my eyes and feel myself fly 1,000 miles away. I could take flight, but would it be right? My conscience tells me stay.
It's a perfect piece that is not only one of my favorite Barbie songs, but one of my favorite musical openers of all time.
There's more to living than gloves and gowns and threads and seams. In my dreams, I'll be free.
How Can I Refuse? Just like how Free is the perfect introductory number for our two leads, How Can I Refuse is an excellent introduction to Preminger, establishing the kind of person he is and what his goals are.
I'm returning home a hero who's discovered mighty wealth. And what better husband could a princess choose? I'm the suitor who will suit her, bring the kingdom back to health, and I'll wear the crown, for how could I refuse?
Its dark, sinister tone mixed with its catchy tune and playful lyrics remind me of villain songs such as Be Prepared or This Day Aria.
So get ready with the roses and stand by with the champagne. When you've got a brilliant plan, you never lose. Yes, before this tactical zombie bigger serenade. It's a thankless job, but how can I refuse?
The reprise helps complete the sinister circle, but we'll get to that in a bit. The song's strongest aspect has to be Martin Short's performance. He really shows off his acting as well as his singing.
No! I won't let go! This peasant's son won't turn and run because some reckless royal chose another beau!
On a side note, there's a funny animation error I caught. In this shot, the lower half of Preminger's torso is completely transparent. I just wanted to point it out. Anyway, I think this should get more recognition as a good villain song.
How can I refuse?
Written in Your Heart, Prologue. There's not much I can say about the song itself, since it's just a preview of the finale number, but the context surrounding it is what makes the whole scene work very well. While walking through the village and seeing how her people are suffering, Annalise hears a mysterious and beautiful song.
Like a bird that flies in the morning light.
When she encounters the singer, it turns out to be Erika, who looks just like her. To me, it's incredibly clever that the song Annalise hears is the beginning of Written in Your Heart, considering that, as we will discuss later, it's a song about how you are the one that controls your destiny. If you combine this with the fact that the opening says,
With lives so different, it wasn't surprising that the princess and the pauper never met. But fate decreed they would.
it really starts to come together. Annalise and Erika met by fate because of this song, and I think that's such a great little detail. I Am a Girl Like You. This is probably the most memorable one from the film. The best part about this scene is here. Annalise shares that she gets breakfast in bed every morning with music and foot massages, but she's dissatisfied because...
But I'd rather be in my library reading science books all day.
Her face after she finishes her verse says it all. Erika has just told her about how she has to pay just to eat breakfast, and Annalise has the gall to complain that she can't sit in her large fancy library all day. But then Erika sings...
I'm just like you.
You are?
You're just like me. There's somewhere else we'd rather be. Somewhere that's ours. Somewhere that dreams come true. Yes, I am a girl like you.
Erika doesn't berate Annalise for being ungrateful for her life. Instead, she is excited to meet someone who understands her struggle. This is one of the things I wanted to talk about in Erika's section, but it felt better putting it here. Erika's been alone this whole time in how she feels, so she finds it a blessing to meet Annalise. They both put their own dreams aside in favor of doing right by their families, and Kingdom as a whole in Annalise's case. This is why they click instantly, and that's what makes their immediate friendship so powerful. This is what Free was talking about. While they both have different situations, the feelings of loneliness and devotion to their duty is the same. And this is also why I can't stand seeing posts that say, oh, Annalise shouldn't compare herself to Erika. Erika is poor and Annalise is literally a princess. Erika herself is the one that says that they are alike. They both long to be free of their circumstances, but they won't waver in their responsibilities.
We take responsibility. We carry through, do what we need to do. Yes, I am a girl like you.
Oh, and fun fact, there are 2 animation errors in the sequence. The last chorus when they sing,
I'm just like you. I'm just like you. You're just like me. You're just like me.
that's actually Erika singing both parts first, not Erika and then Annalise. The same thing happens with
A heart that beats, a voice that speaks the truth.
that should be Erika singing first. Here, I'll show you. This is best with headphones. So here's the acapella for the vocals. As you can hear, Erika leans to the right,
If I'd like to have my breakfast hot, Madam Carp will make me pay.
and Annalise is the left.
If I want some eggs, I ring the bell, and the maid comes running in.
Now listen to the last chorus.
I'm just like you. I'm just like you. You're just like me. You're just like me. It's something anyone can see. A heart that beats, a voice that speaks the truth.
Interesting, isn't it? It's also written this way in the lyric book for Barbie Sings the Princess Movie Collection, and the dolls sing it that way too. It's so funny to me that such a big mistake like this got as far as it did in the animation process. Now it will taunt me forever.
A heart that beats, a voice that speaks the truth. Yes, I am a girl like you.
To be a princess. This lively tune is all about the various parts of etiquette that a princess must adhere to. Julia may not be teaching Erika about politics or how to run a kingdom, but sticking to etiquette and manners works better for the story. In order to fool the nobles, Erika needs to know the basic ways a princess should act, including things like,
To be a princess is to know which spoon to use,
or,
and be charming but detached and yet amused.
She doesn't really need to know about the responsibilities a princess might have, just the mannerisms she should adhere to. Even if some parts seem small, like the spoon thing, every part is essential into crafting her royal persona. If Erika breaks even one of these rules, she will be caught. In addition, many of the lyrics help illustrate more ways that Annalise was restricted in her day-to-day life.
Don't ever stray from protocol. All through the day there's just one way you must behave. Never show a thing you feel inside.
There's also this nice little interlude when Julian swoons over Annalise and Erika notices.
And she has beautiful eyes. Your spirits rise when she walks in the room.
I see.
Doors close and the chemistry grows. She's like a rose that's forever in bloom.
I can never help humming along when this one comes on. It's a very fun song.
To be a princess is to never make your bed. To be a princess is to always use your head.
The Cat's Meow. As a kid, I just mindlessly spun around singing this to my imaginary cat. But as an adult, I can also recognize the importance it has in the film. This song is actually diegetic, meaning that it is literally happening in story and not just metaphorically like a non-diegetic number. For example, in Barbie, A Perfect Christmas, the opening number, It's Gonna Be Amazing, is a non-diegetic number, while Perfect Christmas is a diegetic number. Erika starts to sing to Wolfie and Dominic overhears, sparking their romance as he instantly falls for her. There are some great lyrics about staying true to yourself.
And if what you are is a strange you, doesn't mean you should change you, only means you should change your point of view.
Princess Annalise?
Now to repeat, Dominic is actually hearing Erika singing these particular lyrics. Think about what he says before and after this scene.
No, I'm not sure. But I have to be honest. I think she'll understand. I didn't want to marry a stranger any more than she did. I wanted to meet you without all this ceremony, to get to know the real you.
When he hears Erika singing to Wolfie, her beautiful voice captivates him, but also the fact that she wants Wolfie to be exactly who he is and not feel ashamed.
There is not one hair of you that I would rearrange.
This is the girl that Dominic instantly falls for. Not just an angelic voice, but an honest heart. Somebody who would want him to be himself as well. I liked this song before, but now it's one of my very favorites in the film.
I love you the way you are, and that will never change. That will never change. That's my boy.
If You Love Me for Me. AKA the song that deserves to be on more top romantic songs in animated movies list. This piece truly highlights the dreamy whirlwind romance between Erika and Dominic. It is full of beautiful lyrics and a gorgeous instrumental to back them up.
What you see may be deceiving. Truth lies underneath the skin.
Hope will blossom by believing the heart that lies within.
In addition, this scene, coupled with the cat's meow, are the best pieces of evidence to show how Dominic could really trust Erika enough to help her escape at the end. It's all about wanting a true connection that is founded in honesty and what really lies in a person's heart. Even though Erika is presenting herself as the princess, she doesn't hide her true emotions and personality from Dominic, allowing the sparks to fly between them.
Could I be the one you're seeking? Will I be the one you choose? Can you tell my heart is speaking? My eyes will give you clues.
I really love Julie Stevens and Mark Luna's performances here. They have such great chemistry, and their voices complement each other well.
You say your love is true, and I hope that it will be.
I'd be sure if I knew that you loved me for me.
It is an underrated love song that deserves more recognition.
If you love me for me, if you love me for me.
To Be a Princess, reprise. This is the first of the 2 reprises in the movie. I really enjoy when musicals take a tune and give it a reprise that has the exact opposite emotional appeal, like here. The original song is light and gives Erika and the viewer confidence in her mission, while the reprise hammers in how she did everything right but still failed. What is especially heartbreaking is the ending lyrics before her breakdown.
Do keep a grip and never crack. Stiff upper lip. Stiff upper lip.
She breaks when reciting how a princess doesn't show emotion and keep strong, leaving us with a feeling of hopelessness. She tried to continue the ruse on her own when Julian went missing, but now everything has gone wrong. How Can I Refuse? Reprise. Here's the end of that sinister circle I mentioned earlier. Preminger has Genevieve at her absolute lowest. She just lost her daughter, and now without the marriage, her kingdom and people are going to suffer greatly. Preminger starts by rubbing salt into the wound before making his offering.
Well, your good luck has departed, and your people soon will starve. Au revoir to your foie gras and cheese fondues. But because I'm so good-hearted, half my fortune I will carve. I feel your pain, so how can I refuse?
He then proposes, and Genevieve reluctantly accepts, knowing it's the only option left. Nobody is left to stop Preminger and save Queen Genevieve from her fate. I especially like the way the lyric changes from "How can I refuse?" to "How can you refuse?" and what that means. Whenever Preminger sings "How can I refuse?" in the original song, it's him saying, "How can I resist this thing I want that is clearly meant for me?" When he switches it up here, he is taunting Genevieve in 2 ways. How can you refuse? How can you hesitate to save everyone? And how can you refuse? Literally, how can you refuse? That's right, you can't. It might be phrased as a question, but what he really means underneath is that she can't say no, because no option is left.
How can you refuse?
Written in your heart. This is the best ending that Princess and the Pauper could hope for. As I said during this section on the prologue, the chorus is all about how you are the one that writes your destiny, from your own heart. Your choices and talents shape how your life will go.
Though you may not know where your gifts may lead, and it may not show at the start, when you live your dream, you'll find destiny is written in your heart.
The swelling instrumentation and the beautiful lyrics make this my absolute favorite from the film.
And you're always free to begin again. And you're always free to believe. When you find the place that your heart belongs, you'll never leave.
Melissa Lyons and Julie Stevens are especially gorgeous in this one and leave me mesmerized every time. This really is the perfect finale to close out a great movie.
Though you may not know where your gifts may lead, and
I'm on my way. This song, written by Amy Powers and Alexander Ace Baker, is an outlier, as instead of a musical number, it's a pop song that plays during the end credits. This is actually a trend in Barbie movies. Almost every single one has a pop song or two at the end credits, usually being a pop version of a musical number, like what Disney did for their Renaissance movies, being the theme song of the movie, or both. This one is a song about being on the way to a better day. It fits well with the reoccurring theme of the two leads hoping to be free. I still sometimes sit through the end credits just to listen to this song. Other notes. One final point I'd like to tackle is the duets between Annalise and Erika. You'll notice that in Free and I Am a Girl Like You, Annalise has the soprano part and Erika takes the alto.
I could take flight, but would it be right? My conscience tells me stay. We take responsibility.
Then this is reversed and Written in Your Heart, where Erika is the soprano.
Though you may not know where your gifts may lead, and it may not show at the start.
Now, in classic musical theater, the sopranos are usually the ones to get lead roles and big solos, while altos get more supporting roles. And while yes, Erika does have more songs than Annalise, and her range is just as big, having Annalise and Erika switch out their main harmony at the end helps to show that they are both the main character of the story. It reminds me a bit of the duets in Wicked. Glinda is always the soprano and Elphaba is the alto.
Loathing, loathing, there's a strange exhilaration, loathing, in such total detestation, loathing, it's so pure, so strong.
But in the last song, For Good, they switch.
Who can say if I've been changed for the better? I do believe I have been changed for the better.
This illustrates how these women have changed because of each other by reflecting the other's usual part. Let's go back to I Am a Girl Like You. During the first chorus, we hear the melody goes like this.
I'm just like you.
You are?
You're just like me. There's somewhere else we'd rather be.
And then when Annalise joins in, she sings,
It's something anyone can see.
So it's actually the soprano line that is the harmony and the alto the melody, which almost never happens. This creates a balance where Annalise is still the higher part, but Erika keeps the melody. When you examine the melodies and harmonies of all three songs side by side, this creates a little arc between the characters musically. Like Wicked, the music here shows how Annalise and Erika have affected each other's lives. They start out on opposite parts.
My conscience tells me stay.
Meet in the middle.
It's something anyone can see.
And then finally come out the other side with each other's parts.
Courage is the key that opens every door. Though you may not know where your gifts may lead, and it may not show at the start.
Having Annalise and Erika switch off who is the melody and harmony in each of their duets reflects how they are both the hero of the story in equal measures. The story isn't about a princess or a pauper, it's about the princess and the pauper. Two protagonists, not one. Other things. So this is a bit of a last-minute addition. I just needed another section to talk about some things that don't fit into the other categories. First, I have to talk about the Nutcracker cameo. See, in most of the Barbie movies, there's a cameo of the Nutcracker from the first movie, Barbie and the Nutcracker. Sometimes he's easy to spot, like this shampoo bottle in Pearl Princess, and others it's more blink and you'll miss it, like in the background of this shot from Spy Squad. Princess and the Pauper probably has one of the hardest cameos to spot. Here's the shot he's in. Did you see it? Here's the close-up. Bam! Barely visible at all. The end credits feature an animated blooper reel. I love this so much. Not only are the bloopers themselves very funny, but they also tie in with one of my favorite things about the first couple generations of Barbie movies, the whole Barbie as an actor angle. See, the original idea was that Barbie was an actress playing these roles in her different movies, so the bloopers here are adding to that immersion. They started phasing this idea out as time went on, and now it's totally absent in this Netflix universe, aka the Dreamhouse Adventures universe. I really miss this idea. Something else I really miss about the Barbie DVDs is all the little extra bonus content you get with them. Sometimes it was music videos or bloopers or content from other Barbie media like Life in the Dreamhouse episodes. And of course, many of the earlier DVDs had games and activities. On the Princess and the Pauper DVD, there were credits for the DVD itself, previews for the first 3 movies, a Fairytopia teaser, a commercial for the My Size Barbie doll, a video showcasing the various merch you could buy, and my favorite songs where you could watch through the musical numbers. But the best things by far were the interactive features for the Seraphina talking toy and the Sing Along with Barbie activity. If you've ever popped in the DVD and were confused by the no interactivity in the setup menu, it's referring to the Seraphina toy. Using her jewelry box sensor, Seraphina would interact with codes in the movie. This could be turned off, hence the no interactivity button. Seraphina would say things like this.
Diamonds are a cat's best friend.
It's really fun to hear her little quips. Unfortunately, this doesn't work on later editions of the DVD, so you'll need an old release or the VHS to use this function. The Sing Along with Barbie activity is just as it sounds. You sing the songs with Barbie with words on the screen. You can select the pink butterfly to sing with the characters, or the blue to sing with the instrumental. Whenever you selected a song with a pink butterfly, Barbie would introduce the song and give you praise at the end. This was such a fun activity. I wish they also had an option for the duets where you could just sing one of the parts. So not only was the movie great, the DVD itself was a great experience too. Conclusion. One of my favorite scenes in the movie is when Annalise confesses to Julian that she loves him. When he says he can't give her the same things a king could, Annalise says this.
I think you're like this.
A rock?
Unassuming on the outside, but a treasure within.
This sentiment is exactly how I would describe The Princess and the Pauper. On the surface, it's just an 80-minute kids' toy commercial, but underneath that exterior is a gem. It has a story that doesn't dumb itself down and is tightly written. It has characters that are aspirational and easy to root for. It has music that can stand alongside other great animated musicals. It is unassuming on the outside, but a treasure within. The legacy of this film is very prevalent. Cosplays, fan edits, fan fiction, and of course song covers can be found all over the internet. It's still one of the most popular Barbie movies in the CGI series, if not arguably the most popular. There are so many uplifting lessons to be learned from The Princess and the Pauper. Just because someone is privileged doesn't mean their struggles are any less valid. You shouldn't be ashamed of your more unusual traits. Never stop dreaming that you will get to a better place. And so many more. When others talk about underrated animated features or underrated kids movies, I feel that this movie has more than earned its place to be up there. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. This video took such a long time to make, and honestly, I could talk even more about this film. Like, I have something to say about practically every scene, I just had to attempt to organize my thoughts into something coherent. Like I said, The Princess and the Pauper isn't just my favorite Barbie movie, it's my favorite movie period, and I'm really glad I got to sit down and just blab about it for a bit. If you'd like to leave a like or a comment, I'd really appreciate it. Oh, and I also did a cover of The Cat's Meow that you can find on my channel if you want to check that out. I'll be doing more Barbie videos in the future too, so I hope you'll stick around for that. Thanks again, and I will see you later.